now, another Rock Sports Network presentation.
And what a morning it is out here on the quad. Picture perfect Saturday afternoon here at Disney. 1, 2, 3, yeah!
Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Week 9 edition of the Ozone Football Show. I'm Brendan McDaniels alongside former Syracuse wide receiver Andre Fontenette and former Syracuse linebacker Jamil Dumas. Guys, the outcome of the game on Saturday was a familiar one, but is there some light at the end of the tunnel? That's what we're going to talk about coming up. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to preview the BC game. Andre's got a special surprise for you. We won't tell you until the very end.
It's a fact.
We're also going to talk about cake, why Dino Babers was talking about cake at his Monday afternoon press conference today. We'll also talk about some positives that happened to the game, but then we'll also get realistic and talk about, does his team still have a chance at a bowl game? Mathematically, they do, but realistically, we'll ask the guys. So, guys,
I've been talking about that for weeks. I've been saying that from the beginning,
You,
man.
my friend, are a
Nobody wants to
realist.
listen to me, man.
You
That's
are
all right.
a realist. I don't
Hey,
know
man,
about
go ahead,
me.
Vaughn,
You're a
talk about
realist.
something. Go ahead, I'll wait.
Go ahead, B.
So we were pretty sure they were going to lose to Florida State,
Yep.
and they did. The final score wasn't as ugly as we thought it might be, but it wasn't a game that Syracuse they were never really in the game, despite what the final score looked like.
Yeah, it was a game that was clearly the score didn't exactly show exactly how the game went, but there was 2 or 3 main stats that really said it all. Their third down efficiency wasn't all that great. Let me find out where I put it at. They didn't do well on third down. They gave up 7 sacks on offense last week. The week before, they gave up 9 versus Pittsburgh. So it's been rough. It's been real rough. I didn't expect them to beat Florida State. I said that last week. I didn't expect them to get a W. I did hope for them to compete and turn it into a 4-quarter game. They got work to do. There's not a whole lot to say about it. They got work to do, especially for a team that was also in a 3-4 situation, not playing all that well.
Yeah.
I expected them to compete a little bit better versus Florida State.
Unfortunately, it came back down to what has been all season. It's the story of the mistakes and the immaturity. And it's unfortunate because this is a good team. When you look at the guys that they got on the depth chart, you look at some of their individual play. This is a good team with good players. However, there's certain things that you can't do as a Division I football program. And I'm gonna speak defensively. We'll get into offensive later, but defensively, you can't miss tackles. If you have an opportunity to bring the ball carrier down, you have to bring them down. There was a lot of third down missed tackles. That's important. You need to get them off the field to get your offensive ball back and let them give it right back to you. But either way, the maturity where you need to understand where the sticks are. If it's 3rd and 5, I don't know why D-backs are playing off 7 yards and then taking an initial read step backwards. You're giving them, and especially when you talk about Florida State having athletes, you can't do that. You got to know where the sticks are. You got to know that your defensive line, they're going to get pressure. After 3 seconds, the ball has to come out. So tighten up. It didn't happen, and ultimately in the beginning of the game, I feel like their effort was really flat. They allowed themselves to get punched in the face, and then by the time they realized that they could play with Florida State, it was well too late. It was already 13-0, and the momentum was already gone. So.
Well, and the other part, too, is there's a sequence, I believe it was in the second quarter, where Andre Cisco was gifted an interception, and he dropped it. I mean, that was a perfect opportunity to get off the field, get some momentum for your team, and he's a guy that's normally reliable, and that was a big mistake.
That was a big mistake, and unfortunately for the 3rd week in a row, I hate to say it, you got beat by a trick play. And it came at a pivotal point. You said it last week. I'm sitting up here defending. Maybe I should drink something for that right now. That's why the cup's here, right? But when you talk about 3rd and 8, the importance, and when that trick play happened, it was already 13-3. They stopped them a couple times already, right? And at that point in time, it was like, hey, one more stop, this momentum thing might really shift. And they allowed it, where you had actually guys that looked confused. They were just kind of just aimlessly walking around, not guarding anybody. And if you're sitting there guarding grass, then there's a problem. So that kind of goes back to the maturity and the mindset that was my original question. And right now, that is the original issue right now. So
I like the point that you made about knowing where the sticks are. I just felt like down and distance-wise, like you said, there were so many times where it was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, and they're giving them free access up the
Oh
field
my
to
God.
run a
Dude.
hitch, a quick out, something that a high school kid could run and
Yeah.
complete
Yeah.
because you're playing off coverage. It's like like you said, they have speed, but at the situation, you got to know the down and distance. You got to know where the sticks are, and you got to play them at the sticks and expect and say, hey, I'll give up the big play, but this time I'm going to jump the route.
Or
to-
not even
to-
say I'll
to
give up
give
the big play.
to
Just
to stop
know
the
that
first
the ball's
down.
got to happen. It's got to come out quick, and know that, hey, this is where they're going to try to go.
And their D-line is finally starting to get pressure. They're throwing blitzes at him. They know the quarterback, okay, Hornibrook, they know he has to
Hornibrook.
Hornibrook has to get rid of the
Jeez.
ball early. So
Hornibrook.
that means play up a little closer. Not allow those receivers to run those routes past the sticks. That didn't happen. Like you said, Florida State went 8 for 16 on 3rd down.
Yeah.
You know, you want to keep a team under 40% on 3rd down efficiency. Syracuse, that being said, was almost right at 50% on 3rd down.
Positive.
So that was a positive. But like you said, I mean, I was so frustrated watching. I think I did turn it off for a little bit of the 3rd quarter because I was so frustrated. And I just felt like you said, just the energy was down. Even Coach Babers himself was just like sitting there like this. And I'm like, dude, like that's a huge play. Like that's a mistake. And there's no emotion. The players aren't showing any emotion. The only one that shows any emotion consistently is the weightlifting coach. and he's not playing.
You got to
Like,
be
he's
careful.
the only
hold on,
one.
Hold on. You got to be a little careful. I don't know how far we're going to get right now because take a sip, man. Relax for a second, right? But they had a bigger issue where they had an offensive lineman resign this week, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right?
So
So
got issues.
that is an issue, but one thing I think a lot of people have to remember, they're still children. There's a lot of pressure that goes in being a successful football player, period. When you talk about being a Division I football player, even more demand. So I kind of looked at that as maybe he's looking at it, maybe let me try to lessen the demand on these kids. Maybe they're taking it too serious where, like I said, you got kids abandoning ship, man, during the middle of the season. The stress level has to be high. A lot of finger point and blame games. So I kind of saw that too. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? But maybe at that point in time, you got to realize maybe I should cool down a little bit because they're just children at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was happy, not to cut you off,
go
but I
ahead.
just want to say real quick, I was happy to see that Coach Babers and the offensive staff decided to finally go back. And I've been challenging them to run the
Ooh,
football.
No.
But they tried to.
No.
They tried to because
Oh,
Moniel, bruh,
man.
I mean, the stats will tell you he had 20 carries. He hasn't had 20 carries all season long. He only had 75 yards, but you know, he averaged 3.7 yards per carry. But
Hold
at
on,
least they were
hold on,
trying
man.
to establish the run, trying to establish an
Men
identity.
lie, women
and that's
lie, numbers don't, but they can deceive you once again. That's
How do you figure?
deceiving. Because watching the game, all right, there was the third drive of the game, okay? After they went 3 and out a couple of times, third drive of the game, they gave Abdul Adams the ball. He got 3 yards on the first carry. Gave him the ball again, all right? He got 6 carries. It was 3rd and 1. They then came out and tried to run a pass, and they got a sack. They then came out in the next drive. Same thing. They ran the ball, got 3rd and 2, and came out in shotgun.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like, oh man.
so the
It was
running the ball
so
is a
encouraging.
positive, but the timing of the
Oh, my
run
God.
wasn't all that
and
great.
This is what Jamil is looking at. So they had 51 carries for 192 yards,
First of all,
which is
don't
their
talk
high,
about the offense.
which
I
is
reminded
their
you.
highest
We're gonna
their
get to
highest
that.
output. But to Jay's point, they had 192 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm.
157 of those came in the second half after Florida State had already built a lead and basically had almost put the game out of.
So
out
at
of
least
the way.
again, at least they're trying to run the ball, but the timing of the run is bad.
It's okay.
First down, second down, you get to 3rd and 1, and you
Yeah.
probably should try to punch it forward to get the 1 yard. And then when you're behind at the end of the game, now's not the time to run the ball. Now's the time to throw the ball. So obviously
It
the
may
timing
be.
has to be better. But at least they're trying to, like I said, establish the run a little bit, trying to identify themselves as a running football team. They just got to figure out how to do so.
Yeah.
Well, the other part of it too is, and even Tommy DeVito said this in his post-game press conference. He said that they were starting to put more guys back in pass coverage, almost daring them to run.
Right.
So Syracuse was essentially taking what they were giving them,
Yeah.
which is giving them the yards. I mean, they still ran for under 4 yards a carry, even with all those rushing attempts and rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, the timing is going to be everything. And if they're playing off, obviously it's going to be easier to run the football. We all know that.
Exactly.
It's a hard
frustrating.
situation.
It's frustrating.
That's why I stopped
sound
watching.
Great. Numbers sound great, but unfortunately, the bigger numbers have to be there. The third down conversions, the touchdown numbers, and then the timing of that. You can't wait until the game is already in the second half. You can't wait until you realize that, hey, we can actually play with these guys to actually play with the
You got to
guys.
attack them from play one, from the kickoff.
And
you got to
that's
give
the
yourself
whole,
an opportunity.
You got to come out on fire.
And that being said, we've gotten beat by trick plays now three games in a row.
How does
When
he
are we
bring
going to
this-
throw a trick
How does
play?
he bring this back to the defense?
But when no, I'm just saying when offensively,
Linemen quitting, for God's sakes, and we're
offensively,
still
when are
talking about
we going to
this
try and
trick
throw a
play?
trick play? When are we going to
True.
be more aggressive offensively
Yeah.
to run the ball when you're supposed to run it, be aggressive on third and short in terms of running the football aggressively,
Yeah.
and then when we are going to take our opportunities downfield, Tommy DeVito has to make the throw. He's missed several open receivers. We dropped a big play. Trish Jackson dropped the touchdown pass. And then on top of that, I just would love a little bit of creativity on third down if we are going to throw it. Give him a short screen pass, something quickly we can get to 2 or 3 yards. I just don't like the recipe
All I
right
know
now.
is that
We're all
there
over
is
the
a,
place.
there,
I
there's
don't
a
like the
high school
recipe.
coach out in New Jersey, okay? I'm always bringing it back to Jersey. His name is Grasso, Lou Grassos Jr. All right, I see you watching. And you got a play called the Mets. And I would love for the people to see this play called the Mets. It's a lot of people moving around. The ball goes over here. It comes back over there, but it always ends up in the end zone. I'm going to see if maybe Mr. Grasso can talk to the Syracuse
They gotta
Orange
do
and-
something.
and get Mets up here. That's what we need. We need a little bit of that action.
They gotta do
A new
something.
record. I think it was only 11 and a half minutes into the show when we got our first New Jersey football reference. We got a lot more coming up on the Ozone. We're going to talk a little bit more about the offensive lineman, Ryan Alexander, leaving and what that meant for Syracuse and how their offensive line looked a little bit different. We're also going to talk about why Dino Babers was talking about cake in his Monday afternoon press conference. And we're going to preview the Boston College game, and we're not going to leave out Andre's surprise for you.
I
That's
got
coming
something
up
for you, Jazzo.
later on. We want to remind you that the Ozone is brought to you by 34 Rush. Thurman Thomas's 34 Rush at Batavia Downs, where things are hopping every night with over 30 HD screens, including a 15-foot main screen, food and drink specials, and live music on select weekends. Be sure to check out facebook.com/Batavia Downs for more information on special events and promotions. We'll be back. The Ozone Football Show coming up right after this.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food, we did that too. A separate place to smoke and play, we even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Bill Gray's Burgers and Fish Fries are Rochester's choice because of this, and this, a lot of these, and mostly that.
Hi, I'm Zach Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. We're family owned, family run, 3 generations strong.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
Daddy had surgery and his pain was put to ease.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Back on the Ozone Football Show, I'm Brendan McDaniels, Andre Fontenette, Jamil Dumas with you. A couple things from Dino Babers' press conference from this afternoon that we wanted to jump into. And he made a reference to his college football coach, Dick Toomey, a legendary coach. He just passed away in May. When he was at Hawaii, Dick Toomey said, try less harder. And Dino Babers explained it to the media, and he said this is what he meant. He said they want, and he equated this to his team, this team right now. They want to win so bad, or they jump or they blank for a second, take a deep breath and relax. A lot of times our running backs in the open field and nobody's really tackling them. He said they need to slow down and let their blockers block for you. Let your instincts take over. They have all the skills, but they wouldn't be here. And he was talking about a lot of times how he notices that his running backs they're getting tackled before they can even make a play because they're not waiting for things to happen organically and naturally in the play.
One of the greatest running backs ever was Barry Sanders, and not because of his electric speed, but his vision and his patience. You talk about Emmitt Smith. Let's bring it to college. I think Walter Reyes was another patient running back. You know, you talk about the ability to kind of let the things unfold and then explode through it, kind of like changing up the gears. So I understand that concept. However, if you're running around on a landmine, you know, or in a minefield, you got to understand, you know, you're gonna panic a little bit. So I get that statement. Yeah, you definitely want a patient running back. You just got to kind of look at the circumstances.
I think that Coach Babers is projecting his own feelings about himself onto everybody else. I think that they're making things very difficult on the kids in terms of keeping it simple. They can't play fast because maybe they're confused. If you have an offensive line that's struggling, you need to dumb it down. You need to simplify the offense so that these kids can play faster and more physical. Dumb it down. Maybe Orange is the new fast, needs to take a step back, use up some clock, go back to running the ball. Run some ISO. Get a fullback in the backfield and run ISO, run power, run counter, run some basic run plays to establish the run instead of trying to run this, try to run that, trick run play or whatever it is that we're running. Because right now, whatever we're doing isn't working. We got to simplify things so kids can play fast, can play physical, communicate, play together. And when you know what's going on, you play faster and you can play with confidence. I just don't feel like everybody's on the same page, and I feel like Coach Babers and his staff need to keep it simple, stupid. I think
Keep it simple,
keep
stupid.
it simple. Yeah.
Just drop some knowledge
Yeah.
on you.
Well,
guys.
he also mentioned in his press conference too about reeling it in so they can eliminate some of these mistakes. And if you look at the Florida State game, they didn't turn the ball over. I mean, and that's a positive because this is a team that was better than them.
Turnover downs is still a turnover.
Oh, okay.
And they had 14 penalties for over 100 yards of penalties. So it's like, you know,
You give the ball
offensively,
back.
defensively, and special teams, they're not doing a great job of executing. And I think it's slowing down the whole process of allowing players to play fast and physical.
So here's another one. There's a lot to digest in this next comment. This is my favorite one because
He's out there
we
like
talk about
Play-Doh right now.
we
Good
talk
God.
about zoo animals and we talk about cake. This is
Yeah.
great. Okay, you
Yeah.
ready for this? The question was asked and said, "Do you need to add different plays or different formations to your offense?" That was the question that he was asked, and Babers replied,
Somebody
"It's
get slapped.
it's not." No.
Babers, yeah, right now.
He said it's not about plays and formations. It's about the elephants and the hippos, which he's talking about the offensive defensive line. But it goes on. He said if you're secure there, then the more you can do everywhere else. He said if you have a heck of a cake, you can put all kinds of icing on it and everyone likes it. If you have a cake that tastes bad, it doesn't matter what type of icing is on it.
Okay, I gotta understand that.
Yeah, he's calling out his
Okay.
offensive line, and
Yeah.
that's fine. I mean, it's no secret. Their offensive line has struggled passing in the passing game and the running game. So, you know, I understand about calling them out. It's not about the X's and O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes,
Yeah.
about the Hippos. The Hippos are the big guys up front. They have much work to do up front this offseason in terms of recruiting. Spring ball is going to be huge for them up front. I mean, they have an offensive lineman who quit in the middle of the football season. I've heard of kids quitting during camp. I've heard of
Yeah,
kids committing and
yeah.
then pulling
Not
out from
coming
that
up.
commitment and not
Yeah.
commit, scared, miss home or whatever. Their offensive line has fallen apart, and you're not going to win very many football games. Every football game is going to be a struggle if your offensive line, which is supposed to be the glue that holds your team together, is together. And right now, and they're struggling, and everybody knows it. It's not like they hope to be. Everybody in the country knows it. The players know it, and now finally, Coach Babers is acknowledging the fact that his boys up front in orange right now. You see these guys, Matt Tarullo, Adam Terry, these guys from 04. We need more of that. We need more 6'8",
references
300-plus
from those
pound
years.
offensive linemen, and we need some guys.
I'm
that take
trying.
over
I'm growing
games.
what I'm trying.
Yeah.
You grow him up because he needs to go to Syracuse. We need more kids to stay in town. But that's a whole other story. Our offensive line needs heavy improvement.
And the other part, and we've alluded to it a couple times, but let's get into it. So, fifth-year grad transfer Ryan Alexander quit on Tuesday. Okay, they confirmed that he started practicing last week. So the preparation for Florida State, he started. He just abruptly quit.
That's rough.
After the game, Dino Babers said, "We don't react to guys that quit." And then today, offensive coordinator Mike Lynch told ESPN Syracuse, he said, "What are you going to do? The guy quit. He left the team. That's for him to deal with for the rest of his life."
Right.
Yeah. They're kids ultimately, and they make decisions. I mean, there were some things that I did when I was at the Q's that I wish I didn't do. All right, that's just the way things happen, and it's unfortunate because that's a very big decision that was made. And he was a grad transfer. He did play down at Alabama State, and he's already got his paper. I don't know. Maybe he was ready to go ahead and start his career. I don't know where he's at with his stage in his life, but I do think that is something that he's gonna always think about. He's gonna dwell on. And it's unfortunate because I think almost everybody has regrets and things.
Yo, he's a punk, bro.
Wow,
he's a punk.
Whoa,
you
right.
Quit the team. I don't care how long you've been there. You went through camp. You went through spring ball. You're a punk. You quit the team. You're a punk. Straight up, coach. Take me out. Sit me out. Put someone better in. Don't quit the team.
Damn, bro.
Don't quit the team. And I hope they took a scholarship. I pray that if he was paying to go to school, God bless him. But if he was, that's right, G. I'm gonna start drinking.
Hold on. I'm about to say we got Syracuse shot glasses here.
If my school is helping pay for this young man's education, I am so mad. You cannot quit the squad. And it says something about what Coach Babers and his staff have going on, and it says something about senior leadership. It says a lot about the state of Syracuse football right now. We're in a state of emergency, and losing isn't the only problem.
And you make a good point, and you guys talked about this before. It's one thing to quit after spring ball.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing to quit after camp. It's one thing that after the season's done, you say in December, I'm done. It's another thing when things are going bad. And there were rumors that he was a starter who's going to get replaced, and he wasn't happy with that. I mean, we don't know. That's not confirmed because he hasn't said anything. Obviously, the staff hasn't said anything. But it says a lot more, I think, about the kid than the program, because you're right. You made a commitment, regardless or not. And you learned that back in Pop Warner. And your parents always tell you, like, when it's going bad and you want to quit, your parents say, no, you committed to this team. Yeah. You tough out the year.
Yeah, you don't get participation trophies in Division I football. It's just an unfortunate situation. I don't know who to blame. I don't know if it even makes sense to blame anybody. All I know is that a starting offensive lineman on one of the worst offensive lines in football
worst offensive line.
Has now quit the team.
Unfortunately.
Ryan Alexander, my man, that's weak. That's just weak. I don't, and it's going to follow him. If he tries to go to the NFL, it's going to follow him.
Stop
NFL
that.
teams are going to say,
huh? You stop that conversation right there.
Hell no.
You stop that. He's not going
and you
to
know
the
what
NFL.
else? I think it's going to follow him in life as he goes through and tries to find a job. If his job comes up and he's neck and neck with somebody else and they do some background check on him and see what he's about, I'd rather go for the kid that's not going to quit than to quit the team.
Couple of comments here. Jared Jones said
my old roommate Jay Jones, Jersey.
You see, wowzers is correct. Your boy's on fire over here, Andre Fonzie-Net. Good job, man.
So Jared said they need to get better individually. Players need to commit to getting better, and so do the coaches. And Dino Babers has alluded to that.
Hold yourself accountable.
But
That's right.
But it's now time to start seeing those results.
Yeah.
So also Lon Legion of Doom mentions 94th in total yards, 48th in passing yards, 114th in rushing, 101st in points per game.
Stats.
That LOD got stats.
Third down percentage, 38%, 79th in the country.
Come on.
Not good.
Michael Reber said he wants to thank Andre Fontenette for keeping it real.
That's all I know how to do.
Jared said wowzers.
That's all I know
Tara
how to do.
Dumas agrees with Andre.
Dumas family clan's back out.
Yeah,
That's
Jersey,
the LOD is Legion of Doom, by
Jersey
the way. I see you guys out there. Jersey's
Jersey
all out
stand
there.
up.
We out here, baby. Yeah.
It's a shame that somebody quit. The O-line needs to get better. Defense has heavy improvements to do as well. But right now, I think SU's problem is all about the offense and what they got going on. Offensive line coach is struggling. Play calling is a struggle. And predictable and just not flowing efficiently. Everything is just not going right now at Syracuse football, at the building, at Manley Fieldhouse.
Well,
it's a struggle.
We've got another week of football coming up. It's Boston College Week. We're going to get into that next. I want to remind you that the Ozone is brought to you by Lattimore Physical Therapy and Sports Rehab. Lattimore currently offers 25 clinics throughout the Rochester area, including nearby locations in Pittsford and Webster. More than 50 certified physical therapists have experience in treating most conditions and sports injuries, and in most cases are able to offer initial consultations within 24 hours for your convenience. LattimorePT.com. Jamil will sing. Andre will do predictions. All that more coming up on the Ozone when we return.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Hi, I'm Steve Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. Our best values are available right now at Ralph Honda.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
Bill Gray's Burgers and Fish Fries are Rochester's choice because of this, and this, a lot of these, and mostly that.
Gimme, gimme, gimme Bill Gray's. Hi, I'm Zach Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. We're family-owned, family-run, 3 generations strong.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
Back on the Ozone Football Show, and before we talk about Boston College, that's gonna come up. I want to remind you, if you're watching us on Facebook Live and you got a question for the guys, give it to us right now. We do have a question. Michael Reber asked your guys' opinion on Tommy DeVito, and that's been differing throughout the season. But
mine's changed.
Leave Tommy alone, man. Just leave him alone.
He's a Jersey boy.
D-line have been messing with him all year. Now you're gonna jump on him too? Nah.
Only thing I can say is only thing I can say about Tommy DeVito is you're only as good as your last game. Last game, Tommy DeVito went 20 of 33, 151 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, so he hasn't turned the ball over in a couple of weeks. QBR of 21.0. It's a struggle.
Damn, bro.
You know what? Honestly, I think it's a struggle, and it's his first year as a full-time starter.
Okay.
But gosh, I'm to the point where I feel bad for the kid. I feel bad for the kid because he's running for his life. Every time, even when he doesn't get sacked, he's getting pressured up front, and teams are taking full advantage. Teams are pinning their hair back and just coming down after him. Like it's third and long every play. They are coming after him. They are hungry. They want to get their stats up when they see Syracuse on the schedule.
Oh, definitely.
And right now, poor Tommy DeVito is struggling, and it's because he doesn't have confidence in the guys up front. I don't feel like he has confidence in the play calls in terms of what exactly to do from play to play. And right now he's just playing slow, and he's not making quick, solid, fast, sound decisions.
He's not comfortable. He's not confident. Like you said, he's running for his life most of the time. So, ultimately with I like to think of an analogy of a dog, right? where you can have a dog, and if you treat the dog well, you proud little puppy and all this stuff, right? You're going to get a great dog that's going to grow up to be a great dog. However, a puppy is temperamental, and, you mess with it, you put it in the dark and all other types of stuff. You got a scared little dog. I don't know. I'm not going to call him a scared little dog, but right now I feel like he hasn't been treated well. He hasn't been treated nice at all. And unfortunately, what we have is the result of that trauma. So, yeah.
Well, Legion of Doom checked back in talking about things
stats.
that are tough. Number 3 in the nation in penalties per game, 9.75. Number 6 in penalty yards, 78.63.
And they upped that this week. I said that earlier. They have 14 penalties for 107 yards.
Yeah.
Not only are you poor performing on the field, now you're getting penalties to slow you down even more. It's just, like I said, the kids aren't confident in themselves right now and what's going on. And penalties, just like our beloved Oakland Raiders, penalties are showing the difference
We're
right
just
now.
missing a little Giants reference, and then we've hit the bingo board of Jamil and Andre.
Don't worry, the show's still going. I'll bring one in. But like
penalties will kill us every time.
But like I'm looking at here, the mental breakdowns, and that's what it is. Trauma works in mysterious ways. I felt like
trauma from
I'm
the O-line.
Is that what it is? It's trauma because unfortunately, when you look at the game when it first started, and they went down 13-0. You look at the body language of those players. Across the board, offense, defense, and even the coaches, okay?
Yeah.
That whole realization, that familiar feeling, that familiar taste came rushing back, and then, they kind of got with it, but then by that time it was well too late. So, yeah, definitely the mental game is playing a huge aspect of what we're seeing right now.
And I think that I feel so bad for the poor defense. We haven't talked defense this whole show today. I mean, how many times is the offense going to go 3 and out and not allow the defense to get any rest? No wonder why they're giving up 27 points a game.
Break it down,
because they're always on the field. They're always on the field.
Always.
I hate to say it because I'm offense all day.
Even when they catch their breath.
Talk about it,
So
Jay.
they got punched in the face, 13-0. That happened kind of quickly. Okay, fine. The next series when they came back on there, they stopped them. They got a 3 and out, gave the offense the ball back.
And we gave it right back.
Offense was on a streak that they said stop, but it's still continuing. They have not gained a first down, or no, converted a third down in 4 games. It was 3. They got a penalty, which gave them a first down, but ultimately they have not earned a first down in the first quarter or converted a third down.
Quarter.
Yeah, so that happened. However, defense came back out, stopped them. We're able to get the ball back, 14-3. Defense came out, stopped them. Got the ball back, 3 and out. Defense came back out, stopped them. So the defense was playing, but at a certain point, you're gonna break. It's like we've been here before.
Yeah.
I mean, and
There's
I
no
get
fresh
it.
air.
I get it. And then you start looking around like, hey, what's up with you boys? Because that's what now is being said. Even though we're all one team, I'm looking at you. Hey, what's up with you boys?
I'm in the locker room like, come on, offense. When are you going to help us out?
God.
It's been a struggle.
So Bob Dumas has a simple answer on defense. He said Jay just needs to get back there if he's got some eligibility, because they said
hey, Pop,
best
you know me
linebacker
well.
Syracuse has ever had.
Well,
You
I'll
know
say
me
this.
well,
I don't
Pop.
think Jay needs to
Appreciate
get
you.
back there and actually play because he's an old man. But I would love to see players like him, myself, Q Brown, I see you,
Listen,
Medee Williams,
I would love-
John
yeah,
Reagan.
yeah.
There's plenty of SU alumni who understand. Listen, no one's going to treat your baby better than you. No one bleeds SU more. Listen,
Yeah.
I love Coach Babers and the staff, but where's Coach Babers and the staff
Stop
come
that.
from?
Don't even
you know?
start that. Don't even start that.
I'm
See where
just
you're
going to
going
make
with
a quick
it. Don't
point.
start that.
Real
Don't
quick.
start it.
Where does Coach Babers
Bowling Green
and-
from Eastern Illinois,
Somewhere in
from
Hawaii,
Baylor,
too, Hawaii.
from Arizona
blah,
State,
blah, blah,
Hawaii.
blah, blah. None of them are Syracuse. And none of them are Syracuse. How are you supposed to go recruit a kid and you have no one on your staff that can say, I've worn the orange and blue before? Nobody. And then the one kid you do hire from Syracuse was a kid from Syracuse who went to Michigan.
Hey.
Mike Hart.
Hey,
Come on.
man.
Let's get some Syracuse alumni in there. Start turning this thing around our way, not somebody else's way, our way.
I like it. Good job, Andre Font.
That's
He's
just a fact.
passionate.
Andre's on fire.
That's a
There
fact.
is-
And
there
next
are
time you
a
come
lot
to the
of
office,
SU
Coach Babers,
alumni.
holler at your boy.
There's
Don't
a
ignore
lot of
me next
SU
time.
alumni out there that are more than qualified to come out there. I'm not one of them. He is. All right, and there's more of them out there.
We're
But
8-0, by the way.
Stand up, man. Stand up, man.
That's right. He's at the record. 8-0 McQuaid Jesuit.
That's right.
Coach, talk to him.
That's right.
Legion of Doom said, Jay, last week you said this may not be the type of athletes or the offense for the athletes that you have in place. My question to you then, are you recruiting based on your philosophy was based on star ranking, meaning that you're going to go out and get kids that fit your
That fit
system
your program,
and
yeah.
can do well in that system, or are you going to get the highest ranking kids you can and try to plug them in?
That's a great question. Me personally, I'm going to go with what I know best. I'm going to try to find a kid that can fit the type of player that I'm looking for. That's just me. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't there around February and January when they were doing this recruiting, but that's what I'm going to think that they were doing, because once again, you could bring in the best player in the country, but if he is a 3-4 D lineman and you run a 4-3, guess what? You're going to have an issue because he's not going to fit in. So you definitely should try to cater your recruiting to kind of fit what you're kind of teaching.
That being said, though, as the season progresses, a good coach will be able to make adjustments.
Oh, definitely.
As to find out, because sometimes you think that your team's going to be an ISO team. We're going to run ISO, and then all of a sudden you realize, you know what? We're better at running. Toss sweep.
Oh, yeah, that comes
so
with
you
coaching.
you got to figure out ways to make halftime adjustments and then season adjustments and things like that. So they got a lot of work to do in terms of changing some of the things that they've been doing offensively and figuring out a way to get off.
So
the
then,
field
like
on
you were
defense.
saying before, but then is that the coaching? Because I'm pretty
Well,
sure recruiting,
that's what I'm trying to say,
recruiting is one aspect you can control where you can bring in what you think.
But all
these kids are
recruits
gonna
don't
fit.
come in and do
they don't
exactly
come in
what
and
you
do
expect.
Exactly. So now you got to be able to adapt and adjust.
Adapt and adjust
Wow.
on the run. Good
It
coaches
is.
can adapt and adjust on the run.
Yeah.
When you're talking about Legion of Doom posted 2018 recruiting class 51st in the nation, no 5-star guys, 1 4-star guy. 2019 ranked 55th, no 4 or 5-star recruits, 23-star recruits.
Someone told me something about a 4 or 5-star recruit that was a punter. I don't want to hear nothing about no 4-star
Damn
punter.
sure don't want to
Like,
hear about
let's
no
get,
punter,
let's give
man.
me an offensive
gotta do
lineman.
something.
But to put that in
Gotta do
perspective,
something.
Sorry, I'm frowning. I'm
Syracuse probably has the best place kicker and the best punter in the country,
which makes a big
but
difference.
which is great, but it's not helping you right now.
It's really not.
It's
actually-
helping you
and
if
it's
you have an
hindering you.
offense that
No.
constantly gets to the red zone and fizzles out, but
Yeah.
we can't even cross the 50-yard line hardly. So what are we going to do?
All right, guys, we got to keep rolling. We're going to preview the Boston College game next. Andre's got a surprise for you. This segment is brought to you by Bill
Not
Gray's
that big of a
Restaurant and Tap Room.
Oh, man.
Every Tuesday is Great Play Tuesday at Bill Gray's. Just $7.99 for 2 Bill Gray's cheeseburgers on top of home fries and mac salad loaded with your choice of toppings, including Bill Gray's famous meat sauce. Great Play Tuesday, every Tuesday. Gimme, gimme, gimme.
Bill Gray.
That's right.
There you go. We'll be back with a BC preview on this.
Only $7.99 for a Bill Gray's Great Plate every Tuesday.
Come to Bob Johnson's Scary Month of October and get your scary low lease on a 2019 Chevy Colorado for just $179 a month. That's $179 a month. Come to Bob Johnson Chevrolet.
Daddy had surgery and his pain was put to ease.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Hi, I'm Zach Ralph. We've been selling cars for more than 80 years. We're family owned, family run, 3 generations strong.
Come see the 2020 Hondas. There's something for every lifestyle.
Whatever you're looking for in your next car, you'll find it at Ralph Honda.
Back on the Ozone Football Show, one segment left. If you got a question about the Boston College game, you can ask it to us right now on our Facebook live chat. Thank you so much for everybody that's interacted with us tonight. This has been one of the best ones, if not the best interaction that we've had on Facebook Live, so we really appreciate it. All right, guys, we talked about a couple weeks ago rivalry week with Pitt. Boston College, also a rival with Syracuse, and this is a big week for many reasons. Syracuse comes in 3-5, 0-4 in the ACC. They're the only team in the ACC without a win. Even Georgia Tech, who we knew was going to be sorry, has an ACC win. Syracuse does not have a Power 5 win yet this season. So before I ask you if they're getting it this week, there's a lot of history between Syracuse and Boston College. You guys are both very familiar with it.
First of all, I'd like to just say
Boston College.
I hope UJ.
Ain't no Boston College.
I bleed orange and blue. I hate
Man.
BC. I'm mad at Reggie Terry for taking a job at BC after he left Syracuse.
Yeah, I ain't talking
hate
sense. I ain't talking
BC
sense,
for their
Reg.
colors. I hate BC for the name, the way they spell everything. I don't even like the I don't like their mascot. I don't like the Patriots. I don't like the city of none of it.
None of it. None of it.
Matter of fact, I hate them so much.
I don't
Jay.
like the way you say car.
Here's how much, Jay. I hate Boston College so much.
Whoa.
2 years ago, I wore this shirt. I lost it to a bet. I played high school ball against Jasmine Williams, who's from Pittsburgh, from Rochester, and he went to BC. I went to Syracuse. He went to BC. We made a bet 2 years ago that, over a Facebook post. So now BC's nothing but crossed out this week.
You know what?
SU's going to win.
I'm not
You
even
heard it
worried.
here first.
There's a more important game going on. I don't know if you noticed right here. I am wearing the official Syracuse tournament championship beer pong, all that beer pong championship shirt. Okay, but it's gonna be a great matchup between Boston College's beer pong team and Syracuse's beer pong team. Number 1, number 2 party schools in the nation. Let's see it happen.
Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'll like to say it. We'll take the championship.
Yeah.
We'll take the championship.
Oh my God.
All right, so guys, when we look ahead to Boston College, Steve Adazio, former Syracuse assistant, he wants to ground and pound. He wants to run the ball. It is not a surprise what he wants to do with the football.
Yeah, A.J. Dillon, he is 4th in the country in total runs, and he's also 4th in the country in yards with a little over 1,000 yards in their 8 games, and he's also 4th in the country with 10 rushing touchdowns. So they're gonna force feed him the ball. I mean, you got Anthony Brown, the quarterback. He's out. So they got a new starter. What's his name?
Dennis Grossel.
Dennis Grossel. He's a 6'1" sophomore. He's a bum.
All I know is his name is Grosso.
They're not going to.
He did complete 3 passes last week against Clemson.
So give him credit for that. He's a bum. So they're going to try to force feed Dillon the ball, and Syracuse D-line has to show up and stop the run and force Boston College to throw the ball with Dennis Grossel and force the ball in his hands, and that way our defense will show up today.
I'm encouraged and also very much so concerned because their strength is the running game. And like you said, they're going to force feed our friend Mr. Dillon the ball. He had 141 yards against Kansas, 150 yards against RU, 159 yards against Wake Forest. And against North Carolina State that we lost to, he had 223 yards. So he's going to get the ball. The D-line is our strength. That front 7, oh, my God. I love our linebackers. I love our D-line. It gives us an opportunity to go back to that 4-3, play old school, Cuse Brown. You guys know what I'm talking about. But the problem will come where the Swiss cheese is happening, and that is in the secondary, where the no name will become a big name.
Someone's going to become an all-star.
Unfortunately. What was the quarterback from Maryland, the grad transfer that they had? He was out there looking like Chris Winkie back in 01, and he lost his starting job. Every quarterback seems to step up and play great against the Syracuse defense. So I'm going to be intrigued. That's going to be the telltale, where if they allow Mr. Grasso to have some success, that's going to be a turning point, because you better believe Mr. Dillon, he's going to get his yards. He's going to have close to 100, if not 100 yards. That's just so.
He's going to have over 100 yards.
Yeah.
But I think, can they force him in the third down situations where Grasso has to win the game in the pass game for them? If they can make them a one-dimensional team where throw the ball when they know they're going to throw it, figure out a way to limit the yards in the run, limit the big play, and force them to throw the ball when they absolutely have to. I give them an opportunity to win the game. It's Boston College. It's Boston College. I will never say that Syracuse will lose to Boston. I don't care if we're a 25-point underdog. We're going to beat Boston College by at least a point.
Well, a couple things to think about.
I hate them. Dang, I hate them.
Mr. Richardson, Mr. Williams, and Mr. Anderson, you three linebackers, I would love to see you put snot bubbles in somebody's face mask. That would be great.
Smack him in the mouth. Let's go,
make
defense.
it happen. I really do.
So one of the worst weather games we ever played was at Boston College. Remember that?
God, their stadium is god awful.
Even their turf is stupid.
Right there next to a river. It's like sleet, slush, snow. Oh my God. Even their creepy little eagle.
And there's creeper. Let me not even get into it.
So Syracuse is coming in. They're opening as a 3-point favorite at the Carrier Dome.
As they should.
And there's precedent. Syracuse has won 20 of the last 26 times they played in the Carrier Dome against Boston College. And we talked about our friend, the quarterback, Dennis Grossel. He was 3 of 14 for 53 yards against Clemson. So here's a young guy that does not have a lot of experience, where Syracuse needs to take advantage of that inexperience.
They should. I really hope that they do. The question will be, how mature can they become within a week? Because it's going to come down to, like you said, they're going to put them in third down. They're going to have some opportunities. But if they miss tackles, that's going to be an issue. If they miss a line and it's 3rd and 5 and you see a slot receiver uncovered, but there's a D-back about 8 or 9 yards deep, it's going to be a first down. So understand that maturity has to happen quick. And when they can start realizing situations, I think that they would be very successful. However, I think Mr. Grosso is going to come looking like a Heisman candidate this week, and then next week he'll go back to being his normal 4 for 19 self.
Last year, we beat him. We doubled up on him. We beat him 42-21. This ain't the same team.
Please
though.
stop saying last.
This is not the same team. But I think it's going to be the same result. Not in terms of the score, but I think SU's going to win. I think we're going to play solid because of the rivalry of BC.
Yeah.
I just can't give him any credit. Whatever.
So Andre says they're going to win. Jamil?
I'm saying nothing. Nothing at all. I'm saying go Syracuse
are
beer
you?
pong team. That's what I'm saying. Go Syracuse band. We used to have a girl that used to flip the baton thing, touch the top of the dome, for God's sakes.
BC's 4-4.
right.
They're almost close to a bowl. They're going
Just
to be
come
hungry
on.
for a win.
But no, let's
we're
talk
hung-
about
we gotta be even hungrier.
I
Yeah.
mean, you have an opportunity here where if you lose this game, you're 3-6. If you win the game, you're 4-5. 4-5 seems a lot more reasonable if you want to have any aspirations for postseason anything.
Right.
The toilet bowl. I don't know. Okay. But that cannot happen if 3-6 happens. And I'll be honest with you, Mr. Dillon comes out and he's going to get about 35 carries. And for God's sakes, let him run that clock down. Let him do what he needs to do. And then let Mr. Grosso come out there looking like anybody else other than himself. It's going to be another long week.
We got a couple housekeeping things before we leave. I want to remind you that we're brought to you by Bob Johnson Chevrolet. Bob Johnson's goal is to give you the best deal on the best new or used vehicle possible. If you're not sure what you're looking for in a new car, truck, or SUV, stop by and talk with their expert sales team, and they'll help you find what model fits your needs and requirements the best. Bob Johnson Chevrolet, Ridge Road West in Greece. Also want to remind you, if you like the show, make sure you follow Rock Sportsnet on Facebook
Please
and
do.
Twitter. And also, if you like the show,
Other
please
shows.
share it.
They got
Hit
other
that-
shows.
Hit that share button. Tell us you like it. If you didn't like it, don't tell people you don't like it.
Nah,
Just
they
don't,
like
don't say
it. They
don't,
like
just,
it,
don't,
man.
just don't say
What you
anything.
doing?
Also, if you want to sponsor the show, there's still time. rocksportsnet@gmail.com. Call our guy Gary. He's sitting
I'll wear
right
your
over there. You
shirt.
can't see him, but trust us. He is waiting for your email. He is waiting to give Jameel some more money so he can finally get his puppy.
Dude, don't worry about my
Op-
puppy, man. Don't
oper-
worry about my
operators
puppy.
are standing
I'm good.
by.
I just put hardwood floors in my house, man. I'm about to get a puppy.
You got hardwood floors?
Yeah,
Gary,
buddy,
you must be
boy.
overpaying him. What's
Indoor,
going on?
outdoor, all that. Yeah.
So now you need to sponsor us because apparently Andre and I need to renegotiate our
I
contract.
need to get my kitchen done. I need to talk about
Yeah.
where's
I
I need an agent.
Will you be my agent?
I know, agent.
Apparently Jamil's got it going on.
Goodness
Thank you
gracious.
so much for watching the Ozone Football Show. We had a lot of fun. Hope you did as well. Remember, like the page, share the show, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.